I'm Lisel Pasino, reporting for the municipal ordinance relating to fisheries in Casiguran, Aurora. Municipal Ordinance Number 3 Series of 2016. An ordinance establishing the management, conservation, utilization, and protection of the coastal and marine resources of Municipality of Casiguran and imposing charges, fees, and penalties for the violation thereof. Article 1 General Provisions. This ordinance shall otherwise be known as the Municipal Fishery Ordinance of 2016. This ordinance shall govern the management, conservation, utilization, and protection of the municipal waters of Casiguran. Municipal waters of Casiguran include not only streams, lake, inland, and bodies of water, and tidal waters within the municipality. It is hereby declared the policy of the municipality to establish and implement a comprehensive coastal and marine resources management program which shall to ensure the attainment of food security for the people of Casiguran and general populace. Limit the access of the fishery and aquatic resources within the municipality or the municipal waters for exclusive use and employment of the Filipino citizens. Protect the right of the fisherfolk with a priority to municipal fisherfolk and preferential use of municipal waters. To ensure the rational and sustainable development, management, conservation, protection, and utilization of the municipal waters and the fishery and aquatic resources found therein, and to recognize the useful of sound, scientific, and technical how and know while recognizing the traditional and fisheries knowledge and technologies in order to encourage their proper application, sustainable coastal and fishery resources management and development. To ensure the observance of the good governance, principle of transparency, accountability, and participatory decision-making in all actions and decisions to be made by the municipal officials and other sectors involved. Coverage. This ordinance shall be enforced in conjunction with existing laws, order, rules and regulations, and ordinances on fishing and or fisheries, and shall be implemented and enforced and shall be applicable to the municipal waters of Casiguran, Aurora. All activities, whether for business or otherwise relating to the development, conservation, protection, utilization, and management of the municipal waters and the fishery and aquatic resources found therein, and all persons natural or juridical who are or will be engaged in the development, conservation, protection, utilization, and management of the municipal waters and fishery and aquatic resources found therein. Article 3 or the color coding. Article 3 Section 5. There is hereby a specified colors for the boats or fishing vessel navigating within the municipal waters of Casiguran, Aurora, which is golden yellow with striped blue color. Design label. Label of registration CXXX000 AUP. C stands for initial of the municipality, XXX for first letter of the barangay, 0000, consecutive numbering of boats both for motorized and non-motorized. AUP is Aurora Province. Y is optional. It is for boats classification. P for private, F for fishing, H for hire, and A for aquaculture. Design label. Size of the entire label. 8 inches in height and width of 24 inches in minimum and maximum of 36 inches. Stroke size of letter at least 1/2 inch. Print label. Reflectorized orange paint in black background. Position of label. 2 inches from the top of the end and 6 inches from the color code. Article 4 or the registration of fisher folk and registration of fishing boat or vessels. Article 4 Section 7 or the registry of municipal fisher folk. The municipality, through the office of the municipal agriculturist or the OMA, shall maintain a registry of municipal fisher folk who are actually engaged or desire to engage in fishery industry as their main source of livelihood for the purpose of determining priorities among them, of telling entry into the municipal waters and monitoring of fishing and related activities. Article 4 Section 8 Registry of fishing boat or vessels. The municipality through the Office of Municipal Agriculturist shall likewise maintain a registry of municipal fishing boat or vessel by type of gear and or engine horsepower and other boat particulars with the assistance of MPARMC or the Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Management Council. Article 5 or the fees for the registration of fisher folk and registration of fishing boats or vessels. Article 5 Section 11 Fees for fisher folk's registration. There shall be collected payments for the registration of fisher folks with the amount of 50 pesos, which is cover niya yung cost ng ID, printing, other miscellaneous expenses, provided, however, the validity of the ID shall be good up and renewable thereafter 3 years. Article 5 Section 12 Fees for fishing boat vessels registration. There shall be collected the following annual registration fees from the owner of each fishing boat, vessels, or motorboats of 3 gross tons and less operating within this municipality. Ito yung mga fees na bayarin nila nung kada bangka. Fees for fishing boat vessels. Motorized boats with engine of less than 10 horsepower is 100 pesos. Motorized boats with engine of 10 horsepower but less than 15 horsepower is 150 pesos. Motorized boats with engine of 15 horsepower but less than 50 horsepower is 200 pesos. Motorized boats with 50 horsepower and above is 200 pesos. Non-motorized boats or the bangka is 20 pesos in 3 to 5 persons, 30 pesos with 6 and above persons. Article 6 Permits and Licenses. Article 6 Section 13 Permits and Licenses. No person, partnership, cooperative, association, organization, or corporation shall be allowed to undertake any kind of fishery activities in the municipal waters, including coastal areas, without first obtaining the appropriate permits and or licenses for such activity and paying the fees provided in the ordinance. Article 6, Section 14. Procedure and requirements in obtaining permits and licenses. Para makakuha ng permits and licenses, kailangan nila mag-fill up ng application form, submit documents and requirements such as community tax certificate, barangay and police clearance, proof of registration like IDs, Fisher Folk IDs, certificate of registry of municipal Fisher Folks. Ocular inspection of the fishing boat, fishing gear, and fishing site for stationary gear. Submit proof of payment to the OMA or the Office of Municipal Agriculturist, and then the issuance of permits and or license. Article 6, Section 15. Ito naman yung mga fees bayarin para makakuha ng permit to operate yung mga operate fishing gears and accessories within municipal waters ng kasiguran. Permit to operate fishing gears and accessories. There shall collected a permit fee annually to operate for the following fishing gears to wit: bottom gill nets or the sinker, 1,000 meters and below is 250 pesos. Above 1,000 meters, 350. Stationary bagnet or the largarete, 1.5 meter waters depth and below is 250 pesos. 6 to 8 meters water depth is 350 pesos. 9 meter water depth and above is 500 pesos. Fish corrals or the baklad, 3 to 5 meters depth, 500 pesos. 6 to 8 meters depth, 750 pesos. 9 to 11 meters depth is 1,000 pesos. 12 meters depth and above is 1,500 pesos. Fish pot or the bubu is 10 pesos. Multiple long line, hook and line, and octopus lure line or dakitang, bera-bera, and bating, which is 150 pesos. Drip gill net or the floater, 100 pesos per 100 meter length. Sa rudsud is 100 pesos. Sa mga fish cage naman is 12 square meters and below is 100. 24 square meters and below is 200 pesos. Above 24 square meters is 400 pesos. Fish shelter or dapayaw is 50 pesos. Oyster culture 2,500 square meters and below is 100 pesos. 5,000 square meters and below is 200 pesos. Above 5,000 square meters is 400 pesos. Article 8, Prohibited Acts and Penalties. Article 8, Section 15. Unauthorized fishing or engaging in other unauthorized fisheries activities. No person, cooperative, association, firm of corporation shall exploit, occupy, produce, breed, culture or gather fish, or fish fries, or fingerlings, or engage in any fishery activity in the municipal waters of Casiguran, Aurora, without a license, permit, or lease. No license, hindi sila pwedeng mag-operate. The provisions and penalties nasabi sa which is any person violating this provision shall be appropriate charged in court as per section of 96 of RA 8550, which is ang sabi is any commercial fishing boat captain or 3 highest officers of the boat who commit any of the above prohibits acts upon conviction shall be punished by fine equivalent to the value of catch or 10,000 pesos. Whichever is higher, an imprisonment of 6 months, confiscation of catch and fishing gears, and automatic revocation of license. Article 8, Section 19. Fishing in marine protected areas or the MPAS. Fishery reserves and fish sanctuaries. Ito yung Section 19 na pag pumasok ka dun sa mga marine protected areas, saka fishery reserves and sanctuaries, pwede kang makulong ng 6 months or pwede ka ring magmulta ng 2,500 or fishing gear in marine protected areas o may MPAS, fishery reserves and fish sanctuaries. It shall be unlawful for any person to fish in the fishery areas declared by the municipality as marine protected areas, fishery reserve, and sanctuary. It shall be unlawful for other municipalities or nearby provinces to fish within the municipal waters of Casiguran. Any person violating this provision shall be penalized with a fine of 2,500 per violator, confiscation of catch and fishing gears, and imprisonment of 6 months. Article 8, Section 20, Use of fine mesh. fine mesh net except for catching bangus fry, and dilis. It shall be unlawful for any person to engage in fishing the municipal waters of Casiguran, Aurora using fine mesh net as defined under the ordinance, provided the use of fine mesh nets with legal size but double overlap on top of the other in attempt to circumvent this provision shall be construed as using the mesh net in fishing. Ito yung pagbabawal sa paggamit ng maliliit na mata ng lambat. Kasi na-overfish kasi hindi na nagkakaroon ng hindi na lumalaki yung ibang fish na dapat is pwede pa siya mag-reproduce o dumami. Kaso hindi na nga nadami kasi na-overfish na siya, nakukuha na siya, maliit pa lang siya, hindi na siya nagmamatured. Any person found violating this provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 and confiscating of their paraphernalia. Pursuant to Section 89 of RA 8550, which is, ang sabi is, violation of the above shall subject the offender to the fine from 2,000 pesos to 20,000 pesos or imprisonment from 6 months to 2 years or both such fine and imprisonment at the discretion of the court. So, pwede pala siyang mag-fine ng 2,500 hanggang 20,000 at pwede siyang makulong ng 6 months to 2 years. Article 8, Section 21, Use of active fishing gears. It shall be unlawful for any person, natural or juridical, to fish or engage in fishery activity using active gears such as limited to hulbot-hulbot, troll, stationary floaters, beach seine and tari-tari, zipper and the muruami. Any person violating this provision shall be appropriate charged in court as per Section 90 of RA 8550, which is, ang sabi is, violators of the above prohibitions shall suffer the following penalties. The boat captain and master fisherman of the vessels who participated in violation shall suffer the penalty of imprisonment from 2 years to 6 years. The owner, yung may-ari at saka operator ng bangka, shall be fined from 2,000 pesos to 20,000 pesos upon the discretion of the court. If the owner-operator is a corporation, the penalty shall be imposed on the chief executive officer of the corporation. The catch shall be confiscated and forfeited. So, ganun. Yung captain, pwede siyang makulong ng 2 years to 6 years. At yung operator naman at saka yung may-ari ng bangka is magmumulta siya ng 2,000 to 20,000 pesos. If ang operator and owner is corporation, ang Chief Executive Officer ng corporation ang mag-i-impose. Article 8, Section 22. Gathering of white sand, silica, pebbles, corals, and other materials making up of marine habitat. It shall be unlawful for any person, natural or juridical, to gather, sell, or export white sand, silica, pebbles, and other substances which make up any marine habitat. Any person violating this provision shall be appropriately charged in court as per Section 91 of RA 8550. Dito naman is yung sa Section 22 is yung pangunguha ng mga sand, mga bato, corals, naaalisin mo siya dun sa marine habitat na pwede siyang ikamatay or mabawas, mag-deplete yung ating marine habitat. Sabi dito sa ban of coral exploitation and exportation sa Section 91 ng RA 8550, violation of this provision shall be punished by imprisonment from 6 months to 2 years and a fine from 2,000 pesos to 20,000 pesos, or both such fine and imprisonment at the discretion of the court. The confiscated coral shall either be returned to the sea or donated to schools and museums for educational and scientific purposes or disposed through their means. Section 23. Use of explosive, noxious or poisonous substances in electricity and fishing. It shall be unlawful for any person to catch, take or gather or cause to be caught, taken or gathered piece of any fishery species and municipal water with the use of electricity, pangunguryente, explosive like dynamite, poisonous o paggamit ng mga lason, such as but not limited to cyanide, formalin, lagtang, indrin, and other chemical which will kill or stupefy, or the stupefy means hiluhin yung mga isda para mahuli nila, provided that the use of organic poisonous substances such as tubli and tea-seed to eradicate predators and fish pond in accordance with accepted scientific practices and without causing adverse environmental impact and neighboring waters and grounds shall not be construed as illegal fishing. May law na siya pero ginagamit pa rin tong ano na to yung mga pangingisda na to, yung like panguryente, paggamit ng tubli to stupefy yung mga fish. Any person who violates this provision shall be appropriate charged in court as per section of 88 of RA 8550. RA 88 na ang sabi ay sa RA 88, fishing through explosive, noxious, and poisonous substance and or electricity. Mere possession of explosive, noxious, or poisonous substances or electrofishing devices for illegal fishing shall be punishable by imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 2 years. Actual use of explosive, noxious, or poisonous substances or electrofishing devices for illegal fishing shall be punishable by imprisonment ranging from 5 years to 10 years without prejudice to the filing of separate criminal cases when the use of the same result of physical injury or loss of human life. Dealing and selling, or in any manner disposing of, for profit, illegally caught, gathered fishery species shall be punished by imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 2 years. Article 8, Section 24. Use of dynamite fishing. It shall be unlawful to any person to catch, take, or gather, or cause to be caught, take, or gathered fish, or for any fishery species in municipal waters with the use of dynamites or explosive which will kill, stupefy, disable, or render unconscious fish or fisheries species. Paggamit ng dynamite fishing. Wala naman, tingin ko naman wala naman na dito. Hindi naman sila gumagamit. Article 8, Section 25. Mere possession, dealing, and selling or disposing of illegally caught fish. It shall be unlawful for any person, corporation, or entity to possess, deal in, sell, or any manner dispose of any fish or fishery species which will have been illegally caught, taken, or gathered. Any person who violates this provision shall be appropriately charged in court as per section 88 of RA 8550, which is pwede siyang makulong ng 6 months to 2 years or 5 years to 10 years. Yun yung ranging ng pwede siyang makulong. Use of Section 26, use of destructive fishing method to coral reef and marine habitat. It shall be unlawful for any person, natural or juridical, to fish or engage in any fishery activity using gear or method that destroys coral, seagrass beds, and other fishery marine life habitat such as but not limited to pahubas, sanggab, or filter net, and three-ply nets. A person who violates the provision shall be appropriately charged in court as per section 92 of RA 8550. RA 92 na ang sabi sa magbabiolate ng law na ito, one of the example of this is the muruami. Yung pagbulabog sa corals. Ban of muruami, other methods and are destructive to coral reefs and other marine habitat. Ito yung sinasabi sa RA 8550 section 92. Sa mga magbabiolate nito is the operator, boat captain, master fisherman, and recruiter of organizer of fisher workers who violate this provision shall suffer a penalty of 2 years to 10 years imprisonment and multa ng not less than 100,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos or pwedeng both fine, and imprisonment. The catch and gear used shall be confiscated. It shall likewise be unlawful for any person or corporation to gather, sell, or export white sand, silica, pebbles, and other substances will make a marine habitat. The Muro Ami. Article 8, Section 27. Mere possession, dealing, selling, buying of dynamite paraphernalia. It shall be unlawful for any person who possess, sell, and buy dynamite paraphernalia, such as but not limited to blasting cup, other explosive and chemical compound which contains combustible element. A person who violates this provision shall be appropriately charged in court as per Section 88 of RA 8550. RA 8550, Section 88. Section 28. Fishing of the use by the use of compressor. It shall be unlawful for any person to engage in fishing or other fishery activities using compressor. Any person who violates this provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 pesos, imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months, and confiscation of fishing boats and its paraphernalia. Ito yung pagbili at ikaw yung bibili ng dynamite paraphernalia. Section 28 naman is using the compressor. Section 29. Farming of seaweeds without license or permit. It shall be unlawful for any person, corporation, or cooperative or other entity to engage in seaweeds farming without the necessary license, fees, and permits from the municipality. Pag magtatayo ng seaweeds farm, kailangan mo nang kumuha ng permit and license from municipality. Any person who violates this provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 pesos, imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months, and confiscation of fish boats and its paraphernalia. Section 30. Collecting endangered, rare, or threatened species. It shall be unlawful for any person to fish or take rare, threatened, or endangered species, such as but not limited to clamshell or the taclobo, sea turtle, pawikan, manta ray or the pagi, sikaw, or dugo or manate, as listed in sites and as determined by Department of Agrarian and Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Article 8, Section 32. Catching or capturing and possession of sabalo, mother, bangus, or the awa. It shall be unlawful for any person to catch, gather, capture, or possess mature milk fish or the sabalo. Any person who violates this provision shall be appropriately charged in court as per Section 98, na ang sabi ay Violation of the provision of this section shall be punished by imprisonment of 6 months and 1 day to 8 years and fine of 80,000 pesos and forfeiture of the catch and fishing equipment use and revocation of license. Yung mother sabalo, bawal siyang hulihin. Or the milk fish, mother milk fish. Pwede kang makulong ng 6 months at 1 araw at 8 taon. At pwede ka ding magmulta ng 80,000 and then kukumpiskahin yung equipment mo na ginamit at revocation of your license. So, huwag ka nang manghuli ng Sabado. Section 33, gathering and possession of breeder, spawner, eggs or fry of bangus, prawn, and other endemic species except for research and aquaculture purposes. It shall be unlawful for any person to catch, gather, capture of breeder, spawner, eggs, or fry of bangus, prawn, and other endemic species, except kung gagamitin sa research at sa aquaculture purposes. Section 34. Taking, catching, selling, processing, or transporting gravid crab, crablets, and pahe, or freshwater shrimp, or macrovacuum rosenbergi, except for culture purposes. Except it shall be unlawful for any person to take, catch, sell, process, or transport gravid crab, crablets, and pahe, or freshwater shrimp in this municipality. Any person who violates this is have fine of 2,500 pesos and imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months. Or it can be both. Section 36, introducing deleterious substances to the aquatic environment. It shall be unlawful for any person to introduce any form of deleterious substances to the aquatic environment, such as but not limited to household, industrial, and agricultural waste like used oils and other chemical substances. Ito yung mga paggamit ng mga substances na nakakaapekto sa municipal waters. Kagaya ng paggamit ng chemicals from the agricultural na napupunta sa municipal waters na pwede makaapekto sa marine habitat and marine resources, marine life. Any person found violating the provisions of this ordinance shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 88 of RA 8550. Section 37. Construction and operation of fish corrals, traps, fish pens, sapra, and fish cages without permits and licenses. It shall be unlawful to any person to construct and operate fish corral, traps, fish pens, sapra, and fish cages without the necessary permit and licenses from the municipality, provided that the same shall not be constructed on river, estuaries, and tidal zone. Any person found violating the provision of this ordinance shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 103 of RA 8550, which is, ang sabi dito, provided that is the offender be the owner of fish pond, fish pen, or fish cage shall be subjected to the following penalties. First offense, a fine of 500 pesos per unreported hectare. 2 is subsequent offenses, a fine of 1,000 pesos per unreported hectare. Pero, dito sa lugar ng kasiguran, may mga fish pens, fish corral, fish cages na walang license and permits. Kasi, ang may-ari ay mga nanunungkulan. Section 39. Use of superlights. It shall be unlawful to any person, group of person, cooperative, and corporation to engage fishing with the use of superlights as defined in this ordinance within the municipal waters of Kasiguran, Aurora. And the violation made thereof shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 93 of RA 8550. Na ang sabi sa RA 93, 8550, violations of this provision shall be punished by imprisonment from 6 months to 2 years of a fine or fine of 5,000 pesos per superlight, or both such fine and imprisonment. Iyon ay sa desisyon ng korte. The superlight, fishing gears, and vessels shall be confiscated. Section 40. Conversion of mangroves into fish ponds or any other purposes. It shall be unlawful for any person to convert mangroves into fish ponds or for any other purposes except those areas which are already declared as alienable and disposable land. Any person found violating this provision shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 94 of RA 8550. Na ang sabi, conversion of mangroves. It shall be unlawful for any person to convert mangroves into fish ponds or for any other purposes. Except daw na yun na-declare na alienable na siya or patay na siya, alienable and disposable land na siya. Yun, pwede mo na siyang gawing fish pond or fish cage, fish. But, violation of the provision of this section shall be punished by imprisonment of 6 years and 1 day to 12 years and a fine of 80,000 pesos, provided that if the area requires rehabilitation or restoration as determined by the court, the offender should also be required to restore or compensate for the restoration of the damage. Section 41. Taking, selling, transferring outside of the municipality or having in possession for any purpose any shellfish. It shall be unlawful for any person to take, sell, transfer, or have in possession for any purposes any shellfish which is sexually mature or below the minimum size or above the maximum quantities as prescribed for the particular species. Any person found violating this provision shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 103 RA 8550. Ito yung gathering and marketing of shellfishes. It shall be unlawful for any person to take, sell, transfer, or have in possession for any purpose on any shellfish which is sexually mature or below the minimum size or above the maximum quantities prescribed for the particular species. Subject to the provision of subparagraph this section, violation of the above enumerated prohibited acts shall subject the offender of fine ranging from 2,000 pesos to 10,000 pesos or imprisonment from 1 month and 1 day to 6 months or both fine and imprisonment upon the discretion of the court. Section 42, obstruction of defined migratory paths. Obstruction of any defined migratory paths or anadromous, catadromous, and other migratory species in areas including but not limited to river mouths and estuaries within a distance determined by the concerned pharmacies shall be appropriate charged in court under Section 105 of RA 8550. Pharmacies or the Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Management Council. Ito yung sabi sa Section 105 of RA 8550. Ang sino mang lumabag dito ay pwedeng makulong ng 7 years to 12 years or magmumulta ng from 50,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos or pwedeng both imprisonment and fine of the discretion of the court. Cancellation of permit license if any and dismantling of obstruction shall be his own expense and confiscation of the same. Section 43. Use of unofficial unprescribed color coding of boats, motorized and non-motorized. It shall be unlawful for any person to use the unofficial or unprescribed color coding of boats in the municipality. Any person who violates this provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 pesos or imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months or both at discretion of the court. Section 44. Towing of boats or vessels doing illegal fishing activities, transporting illegally caught fish, mangroves, corals, seagrasses, pebbles, sands, and other prohibited species. It shall be unlawful for any person to tow boats or vessels processing and or doing illegal fishing activities such as but not limited to transporting illegal caught fish, mangroves, corals, seagrasses, pebbles, and sand, and prohibited species or substances. Any person who violates this provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 or imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months or both discretion of the court. Section 45. Gathering, possessing, and transporting of seagrasses species except for research purposes and exhibits and exhibits. It shall be unlawful for any person to gather, possess, and transport any kind of seagrasses such as Lucy cymodocea, Enhalus, Halopila, Cyrigonium, and Thalassia, except for research and exhibits purposes. Any person who violates the provision shall be penalized by a fine of 2,500 pesos and imprisonment from 2 months to 6 months or both by discretion of the court. Section 46. Provision of lights during navigation. It shall be unlawful to any fish boats, vessels to navigate during nighttime without light for easy identification. Bawal siya kasi hindi mo siya ma-identify yung mga mahuhuling isda. Pwede mo ma-overfish ang mga isdang hindi dapat mahuli. Section 47. Unauthorized fishing or engaging in other unauthorized fisheries activities. It shall be unlawful for any person not listed in the registry of municipal fisher folks to engage in any commercial fishing activity in municipal waters. Any municipal fisheries folks who commit such violation shall be punished by confiscation of catch and a fine of 500 pesos pursuant to Section 88 of RA 8550. Commercial fishing vessel operators employing unlicensed fisher folks or fisher worker or crew. The owner, operator of commercial fishing vessels employing unlicensed fisher folks or fisher worker shall be fined 500 pesos each for every month that the same has been employed. 1,000 pesos for every month of each unlicensed crew member who has been employed pursuant to Section 104 of RA 8550. Ito naman yung mga fisher employees sa bangka, operator owner na nag-ooperate na wala silang mga license and permits. Section 49. Poaching in municipal waters. It shall be unlawful for any foreign persons, corporation, or entitled to fisheries or generate fishing vessels in municipal waters. The entry of any foreign vessels in municipal waters shall constitute prima facie evidence that the vessel is engaged in fishing municipal water. Filing of appropriate charges in court as per section of